Welcome to this explainer. If you're stepping into the Immortal Realm for the very first time, building your first character can honestly feel a little, overwhelming. There are hundreds of skill combinations, stat balances to worry about, and just a massive, completely open world waiting for you. But today we're going to strip all that stress away. We're going to break down exactly how to build your very first character without getting bogged down in endless spreadsheets, so you can actually stay focused on the fun part, playing the game.
Okay, let's dive into this. You're not optimizing, you're playing. I absolutely love this mindset because it is the exact attitude you need on day one. It is completely okay to just explore, hit a few monsters, maybe craft a dagger or two, and just figure out what feels good to you. And the templates we're discussing today, they are built specifically to let you do exactly that.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at the training wheels approach, break down the starter warrior, mage, and crafter blueprints, cover some common mistakes you want to avoid, and finally, map out the road to the endgame.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the training wheels approach, easing into Ultima Online.
So what actually is a starter template? Basically, you don't need a serious, locked-in, finalized build yet. These templates use the exact same core skills as top-tier endgame builds, but with lower target levels and much simpler gear requirements. See, in Immortal Realm, you have a hard cap of 700 total skill points, and instead of agonizing over how to spend all 700 right out of the gate, these training wheels builds get you to a working, fun state with far less commitment. It just lets you jump in and play.
Moving right along to Section 2, Path 1, the Starter Warrior.
Now, here is a absolutely crucial metric for the starter warrior. 15 to 25 hours. That's your time to working. Out of all the paths we'll talk about today, the warrior requires the lowest time investment to feel genuinely effective. You'll be out in the world holding your own really quickly.
Now, what's really interesting about this math is that if you add up these target levels, you're only looking at a 440-point half build. You take swordsmanship, tactics, and healing to 80. Then you bring anatomy and resist spells to 60 to help you survive casters and deal a bit more damage. Throw in about 40 magery just so you can use the recall spell to travel, and maybe 40 in mining or lumberjacking for some side income. You're literally leaving around 260 points completely unspent for later. It's incredibly low pressure, but super effective, heavily fueled by your strength and dexterity stats.
So what are you actually doing out there with those stats? Well, the Starter Warrior gameplay loop is wonderfully straightforward. You'll solo low-tier mobs in the starter dungeons. And hey, when you see broadcast events for convoys, run them. They offer fantastic income for very low skill requirements. You want to equip a basic longsword or katana, throw on some cheap studded leather armor, and just make sure you always carry about 100 bandages and a few heal potions. Oh, and a massive tip right from the source here. Avoid the Felucca zone entirely until your total skills exceed 600. Trust me, it is just way too dangerous for a starter.
All right, Section 3. Let's talk about Path 2, the starter mage.
For the mage, your time to get up and running is about 25 to 40 hours. So yeah, this path takes a bit more time to come fully online compared to the warrior. You're relying heavily on spells here, so building up that magical potency just takes a few more hours of dedication. Let's see how the stats break down.
All right, here is your 400-point mage template. The core is 80 magery for your primary spell casting. Then you're going to balance evaluating, intelligence, meditation, wrestling, and resist spells all at 60. This combo gives you damage scaling, mana regeneration, and crucial defense. Round it all out with some inscription for basic scrolls. Stat-wise, you're heavily skewed toward intelligence in 90, with strength sitting at 60 just to keep you alive. Gear is simple. You'll be rocking a standard spellbook, a basic robe, and some leather armor underneath.
Now, the mage's early game tactics look a bit different. You'll actually start by casting at training dummies in New Haven to safely build up that early skill. Once you're ready, you can start hunting low-tier mobs with offensive spells. The massive perk here is hitting 50 magery. That unlocks reliable recall casting, which gives you fast travel across the entire map. But here is absolutely crucial advice. You have to manage your bag. Keep 100 or more of each magical reagent on you at all times, or you literally cannot cast, period. And tactically, stay at a distance. Your wrestling skill is low, meaning if a monster gets too close, they're going to disrupt your spellcasting.
Moving into Section 4, Path 3, the starter crafter. But heads up, be prepared. Your time to working here is 30 to 50 hours. This is definitely the slowest build to feel rewarding. It requires real patience and methodical work before the massive economic payoff begins.
The crafter starts with a pretty meager 320 total skill points. You'll push blacksmithy, mining, and tinkering to 60. That gives you your primary trade, the ability to harvest your own materials, and the power to make your own tools. You'll keep magery and healing around 40 just to recall to mining spots and, survive if a stray monster wanders by. But to pull this off, you absolutely need 100 strength. Why? Because ore is incredibly heavy. You need that carrying capacity to haul your materials back to the forge.
Your daily life as a crafter is highly routine. You'll spend a lot of time mining ore safely in the trammel zones. To gain skill points, you'll sit at an anvil crafting endless daggers and kite shields. You can sell the exceptional items to NPC vendors for a small margin, or better yet, straight to other players. And this brilliantly illustrates the long-term goal. Once your combined trade skills hit 500 plus, you can set up a dedicated workshop right in your own player housing. Just remember, never leave home without your smith hammer, your mining pick, and a stack of bandages.
All right, Section 5, let's talk about avoiding common beginner mistakes.
First off, don't second-guess your choice. If you're sitting there wondering which path to actually take, use this matrix. If you like fast feedback, like kill a monster, get the loot, play the warrior. If you like utility and magic, the mage is for you. If you love long-term economic outcomes, play the crafter. Now, if you are entirely brand new to the mechanics of Ultima Online, I highly recommend defaulting to the warrior, as it's by far the most forgiving. And if you're a returning veteran from years ago, just play whatever you finally remember enjoying. You can always respec later. But you definitely want to watch out for these specific pitfalls. Again, please do not try to optimize on day one. Don't pick a build just because someone on the server claims it's the current meta, right? Because the meta shifts constantly. Just play what's fun. A huge mistake is attempting a dual build right away, like a warrior-mage hybrid. You'll just stretch your limited skill points way too thin and end up weak at literally everything. Also, don't waste your hard-earned gold on expensive gear early on. You're going to outgrow it incredibly fast at these lower skill levels. The rule is, buy cheap, replace often. Finally, don't ignore civet orders. They might sound intimidating, but they are actually designed to be very approachable for starter characters.
Finally, Section 6, the road to endgame.
Let's zoom out and see how this journey actually plays out over time. Your first 1 to 3 weeks, that's your starter stage, playing with those 300 to 440 skill point limits we talked about. Around the 1-month mark, you hit the decision stage. This is where you commit to a final, full build. Over the next month or two, you enter the transition stage, where you're actively pushing your remaining skills to their 100-point targets. Sometime between month 1 and 3, you'll hit the full stage, reaching that magical 700 skill point cap. And from there, you enter the true endgame, the Power Scroll stage.
Now, if you're sitting there wondering, wait, what is a power scroll? Well, it's a massive endgame mechanic. These are incredibly rare items obtained from dangerous champion spawns in the PvP-enabled Felucca zone. What they do is actually break the normal rules of the game, allowing you to raise an individual skill cap past 100, up to 105, 110, 115, or even 120. The catch? Your overall character skill total remains strictly locked at 700. So if you want to be a 120 skill Grandmaster in one area, you have to sacrifice points somewhere else. It's this brilliant balancing act that keeps the endgame constantly fresh.
So, we've covered the training wheels, the 3 core archetypes, the pitfalls you need to avoid, and the timeline to maximum power. Which means the only thing left to ask is this: warrior, mage, or crafter? Which path will you forge during your first week in the Immortal Realm? The choice is entirely yours. Jump in, start exploring, and build your legacy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you in the realm.